Stephen A. Smith just shocked the entire sports world by reporting that Doc Rivers is going to retire from the NBA at the end of this current season because the Milwaukee Bucks are struggling in 11th place with a terrible record of 26 wins and 35 losses, which is not what anyone expected from a team with this much superstar talent. Doc has been a head coach in this league for 25 years, but he is ready to walk away instead of leading this aging team through a long and difficult rebuild that would likely take many years to complete. The team has been a complete and total failure since he took over for Adrian Griffin, and they have only won 91 games while losing 88 times under his watch, which is simply not good enough for a franchise that wants to win a title. Giannis has missed 15 straight games with a calf strain, and the team looks totally lost and confused, without their best player on the court to carry them through the most difficult moments of the game. Doc is leaving behind a lot of money on his $40 million contract that he signed in 2024, but he clearly thinks that retiring is better than getting fired for the 4th time in his career. The roster is currently the oldest in the entire league, and they have no draft picks left to fix the problems they have because they traded them all away for older players who are clearly past their prime years. Experts are already saying that Giannis might ask for a trade the moment this season is officially over because he does not want to be part of a rebuilding project during the best years of his life. Doc will probably end up back on television where he can talk about games instead of losing them, which is something he has always been much better at doing. Before I tell you the reason why he retired, make sure you like and subscribe for daily NBA videos so you can stay updated on all the drama happening in the league. This retirement announcement feels like the ultimate escape act for a coach who knew his time was up and did not want to face the music from the front office. He saw the writing on the wall and realized that the owners were going to fire him the second the buzzer sounded on their disappointing season. It is a classic move from a guy who has made a career out of underperforming with some of the greatest talent to ever play the game of basketball. He does not want the stain of another firing on his resume, so he is calling it a career on his own terms to protect his image. The fans in Milwaukee can see right through this act because they have watched the team fall apart under his leadership for the last year. He is jumping off a sinking ship before he gets pushed off by the people who actually pay his massive salary. It is honestly embarrassing to see a coach with his reputation give up when things get difficult for his players and the organization as a whole. He would rather sit in a comfortable broadcast booth than do the hard work of building a winning culture in a locker room that is clearly broken. This is not a legend going out on top, but a coach running away from a massive mess that he helped create through his own poor decisions. He has always been better at making excuses than he has been at winning playoff games when the pressure is at its highest point. The downfall of this franchise can be traced directly back to the day they decided to fire Adrian Griffin when the team had 30 wins and was one of the best in the league. That decision was one of the most arrogant moves a front office has ever made, and they are paying the price for it every single day that they step onto the court. They thought that bringing in a big name like Doc would solve all their problems, but it only created a bunch of new ones that they were not prepared to handle. The chemistry of the team was destroyed in an instant, and they have never looked like the same group of players since that coaching change happened. It feels like there is a dark cloud over the organization because of how they treated a coach who was actually winning games for them on a consistent basis. The players look like they have lost their joy for the game and they are just going through the motions until the season finally comes to an end. But listen to this, because the story of how they collapsed is even more wild than you think when you look at the actual numbers. The defense has completely evaporated and the offense relies way too much on individual brilliance rather than a real system that works for everyone. This is what happens when you prioritize a famous name over a coach who is actually doing the hard work and building real relationships with the players in the building. They traded their future for a name, and now they have nothing to show for it except a bunch of losses and a coach who is quitting. The biggest fear for every fan in the state of Wisconsin is that Giannis is going to follow Doc right out the door this summer and ask for a trade to a new team. Why would a player of his caliber want to stay on a team that is clearly headed for a long and painful rebuild with no real plan for success? He has given everything to this city, but the front office has failed him by hiring the wrong people and making bad trades for aging stars. If the coach is quitting, it shows that there is no faith in the future of this roster or the direction of the franchise as a whole. Giannis is in the prime of his career, and he cannot afford to waste another year on a team that cannot even make the play-in tournament in a weak conference. The rumors about him wanting a trade are getting louder every single day, and it is only a matter of time before he makes it official. He has seen other stars move to better situations, and he might decide it is time for a fresh start somewhere where the management actually knows what they are doing. Without a strong coach to lead them, there is absolutely nothing keeping the Greek Freak in Milwaukee anymore. It is a sad reality, but the era of Giannis in a Bucks jersey is likely coming to a very messy and painful end for everyone involved. He deserves to play for a team that is actually committed to winning and not just hiring famous coaches to sell tickets. It is honestly hilarious to think that Doc will be back on television criticizing other coaches in just a few months when he failed so badly himself. He is much better at talking about basketball than he is at actually coaching a team to a victory when the stakes are high. He will sit there with a microphone and act like he has all the answers for every team in the league while ignoring his own track record of failure. Fans are going to lose their minds when they hear him talk about late-game execution after what they just witnessed in Milwaukee for the last year. But it gets even crazier when you look at how much money he is going to make to do almost nothing but talk into a camera. He has mastered the art of failing upwards and getting paid millions of dollars to do it over and over again with different teams. His voice is iconic, but his coaching strategies are outdated and completely ineffective in the modern game that we see today. He will probably try to act like his time with the Bucks was not his fault at all and blame the players or the injuries for the collapse. We all know the truth, though, because the numbers do not lie about his winning percentage and his inability to win a series when he does not have a massive talent advantage. He is a media personality who just happened to hold a whistle for a few decades while riding the coattails of legendary players. The best thing that could happen to the Bucks right now is for Doc to leave as fast as possible so they can start over with someone else. The fans should be celebrating this news because it gives them a chance to find a coach who actually understands modern analytics and player development. They need someone with fresh ideas who can connect with the younger players on the roster and build a system that works for the long term. Doc was stuck in the past, and his rotations were some of the most confusing things I have ever seen from a professional coach. He played veterans who had no legs left while letting the newcomers sit on the bench and rot when they could have been helping the team win. Getting him out of the building is the first step toward fixing the culture of this team and making it a place where players actually want to be. They need a leader who is not afraid to hold the stars accountable for their mistakes on the court instead of just making excuses for them. It might be too late to save this specific season, but it is definitely the right move for the long-term health of the franchise in Milwaukee. The dark cloud over the Fiserv Forum is finally starting to move away, and people can start to have hope again for the future of the team. The tenure of Doc Rivers in Milwaukee will go down as one of the biggest and most expensive failures in the history of the NBA. He took a championship contender and turned them into a lottery team in record time through bad coaching and a lack of effort. The front office needs to be very aggressive and start trading away every veteran on the roster to get whatever value they can before it is too late. They should not wait for Giannis to ask for a trade because they should be proactive and start the rebuild right now before things get even worse. This was a massive experiment that failed on every single level imaginable, and everyone involved should be held responsible for the mess. The fans deserve better than a coach who quits when the going gets tough and leaves the team in a giant hole that they cannot climb out of. This organization needs a complete reset from the top down to find their way back to greatness and build something that can actually last. Make sure you like and subscribe for daily NBA videos at this channel right now so you never miss a single update on the collapse of the Bucks and the future of Giannis. Is Doc Rivers the most overrated coach in the history of the sport? Or did the Bucks roster just fail him? Let me know in the comments if you think Giannis should stay or if he should demand a trade to a real contender right now.